Hello, YouTube, and welcome to our Motorsports Podcast. This is our third week of doing it. I don't know, third week, the third different day of the week. Trying to aim for Tuesdays. It's just my fault. We didn't get it in yesterday. So, some big news from this weekend. The biggest news from this weekend is obviously the Robert Wickens crash, IndyCar race at Pocono. Usually we start off with some kind of NASCAR news, but obviously Robert Wickens, for any racing fan, it's probably the biggest news story of the weekend. So Robert Wickens on lap 7, mind you, this is the first green flag lap at a race, but lap 7 of the actual lap count. Lap 7, they got through turn 1. And then heading down Long Pond straightaway, Ryan Hunter-Reay and Robert Wickens. Wickens got a run on Hunter-Reay. He dove to the inside, and they were side by side. And Wickens was in Hunter-Reay's blind spot entering the tunnel turn. They made the slightest bit of contact. Hunter-Reay went around, and Wickens got airborne. Went up onto the safer barrier, shredded the fence, good 200 feet. And then slid down the track all the way to the inside wall. He suffered a broken right forearm. Both his ankles are broken, and he suffered a vertebrae fracture in the thoracic region. He underwent one surgery Monday night already for his spinal injury, and is scheduled for more surgeries on his back, and he's in stable condition right now. I don't know, what are our thoughts on the way the crash happened, and about Robert and his injuries?
Definitely Wickens' fault. Can't deny that though. Right?
Well, yeah, it was Wickens' fault. He could have backed out. It was like half a lap into the tunnel turn after they just wrecked, but to be real, like, it didn't look like he would be hurt by it, because all it looked like is he hit the back of the car, like the engine part and all that back there where the engine is, and somehow he got injured for that. I didn't expect him to be injured at all.
I'll be right
back.
No, okay. Well, I guess we talk about the crash, and I think he got like a couple injuries or whatever I heard.
Yeah,
I didn't really watch
his
the race,
ankles.
so.
I didn't watch it after that wreck.
Same.
I actually
to be honest,
did.
I turned it back on with I think 3 to go.
So yeah,
I'll see about it.
this wreck happened. Wickens wasn't the only one with injuries. James Hinchcliffe apparently broke both of his wrists in the crash.
Well, he was holding up his hands like something was wrong.
Yeah, but when they went on the onboard of James Hinchcliffe, when the wheel whiplashed, his hands were nowhere near the wheel. So it must have been when his hands.
I think
hit,
it was
like
if you said like debris hit into him.
Oh,
Do you
I
think
forgot
it was
about that.
Or what about the initial impact? Like the first impact?
The first one was pretty hard, or I think the second one with I believe it was Takuma Sato, and came slamming into Hinchcliffe.
No, it was the 19 of Fittipaldi.
Oh yeah, Oh yeah, and he was just coming off an injury from Spa. I believe it was both of his legs that were injured. So he thankfully was unscathed. The car not so much.
Yeah. Just got in the oil after Wickens wrecked.
Yeah.
A bunch of people did.
Yeah, there was
Like Hinch.
6-7 car crash out of the tunnel turn. But with Wickens shredding the fence as much as he did, it took about 2 hours to repair the fence, and they were under the red flag. Mind you, we hadn't even had a green flag lap in the race yet. The first 6 laps are under caution. So this lap 9.
I didn't think they were gonna go back racing because the night and it would get dark and shit. So
yeah, there's no lights at Pocono, but they got the fence fixed within 2 hours. They restarted the race, and from then on, it was Alexander Rossi dominating the race He had the lead for the most part, besides pit cycles, but on the fourth pit cycle, or the fourth pit stop, which was, I believe, the second to last pit stop in the race, Will Power actually was able to come out in front of Alexander Rossi, and I believe he held it for about half of that stint, or the full stint. I forget if it was half or full. I believe he got into lap traffic, and Rossi caught back up and passed him, and then Rossi was gone from then. Championship, it's 29 points between Scott Dixon and Alexander Rossi heading into Gateway. We still have Gateway, Portland, and Sonoma. What are your thoughts on the race, and what do you think of the championship?
I think Dixon needs to worry a little bit because for the whole thing, Chip Ganassi in general, but most of the teams around there, except for the Penske guys, are really bad at the short ovals. So, but Honda, no, it's Chevy. Never mind. The Andretti's are usually the best at short ovals, except for Penske. Really, it's only one Penske that's good at the short ovals. It's Newgarden.
Remember, it also can go both ways. Say the championship's close, entering Sonoma. Sonoma is a double points race. So.
Yeah, but I think Dixon will outperform Rossi in Sonoma, and they still need to do Portland.
Yeah, definitely. Dixon, I believe, is the favorite for the actual Sonoma race.
But he can't lose too many points at Gateway though, because Gateway. The Ganassi cars are terrible at short ovals, it seems, for the past how many seasons.
Yeah, Gateway is going to be all about management. So you kind of mentioned it already, but your prediction to win Gateway was, you said Newgarden?
I think it was Newgarden, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, they will be running the quote road course package at the short oval because you rely heavily on brakes, unlike most of the ovals you see in NASCAR. Gateway is still in the Truck Series.
Speaking of that, with Phoenix being gone, there'll only be two short ovals.
Gateway and
Iowa.
Milwaukee. They used to run Milwaukee, not anymore. Yeah, I think Pagano will squeeze it out of Gateway.
I remember last season when Newgarden pushed Pagano out of the way.
Yeah. So that is IndyCar. 29 points is the gap between Dixon and Rossi. You think Dixon is able to hold on through till Sonoma?
Yeah.
All right.
From what I know, I'm gonna say yes. So.
Because he's a past champion, he should know how to manage a gap pretty well.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Over the unexperienced Rossi and all that.
And
that's going to probably mess up and push too hard for it.
Last year, towards the end of the season, Rossi was able to really rile up the championship, so to speak, with his Watkins Glen performance in September.
Sadly, that's not on the schedule anymore.
Yeah, it's not on the schedule this year, but let's say just this road course is maybe up on a rise now, and it could be a little bit closer as we get to Portland and then Sonoma. Anyway, that was for IndyCar. Yeah, Robert Wickens is currently in stable condition. The 6th car will not be entered into Gateway. And Wickens is definitely out for the season, and we'll see how much, how long it'll take before Wickens can get back into a race car. Hopefully he gets back into a race car. Next up, we have the pretty much going in backwards order of the weekend. The NASCAR Cup race at Bristol. Kurt Busch snaps a 58 race winless streak with his win on Saturday. His win prior to this past Saturday was the 2017 Daytona 500. It was his first win with crew chief Billy Scott. I believe that's his name. Yeah, that sounds right. Kurt Busch
I'm really
Now,
surprised they made that crew chief change, though.
the third driver to win for SHR, the only driver yet to win for SHR this season is Eric Almirola. Though he is very capable of winning, he's at least shown it at Chicago and a couple other mile and a halves.
No, loose wheels all the time.
He's going too fast. The wheels are loose.
Exactly.
So yeah, Kurt Busch won, but he was pretty much going to be locked into the playoffs no matter what, because he was
Points.
he was like 270 ahead of Ricky Stenhouse Jr. and there's like 2 races left. So I don't know. Does this win give Kurt momentum into the playoffs? Does he like rank higher now in your regards to competing for the championship, or when he exits?
I think it gives him a little bit more motivation because he's been kind of on the down this season, I should say. Like compared to his other
he's
seasons
had the most
on the
points
team.
out of any other driver who has yet to win, who had yet to win.
And
Only like 6 guys.
all the drivers he were ahead of were drivers on the down too, like Keselowski, Logano.
I believe it was
Terrible
earlier
this season.
today, but Race Hub like had this thing. It was a whole segment to all the winners from 2017 that had yet to win in 2018, like Ryan Blaney, Keselowski, Johnson, and who else won last season? Prior to Bristol, it was Kurt Busch, and it was just several drivers who had won last season, not showing anything similar to that of this season. And yeah, but Kurt Busch, snapping his 58 race winless streak, looks to now put himself as the 3rd best SHR car out of the 4. We had on and kind of recap the day. It started off with lap 2 or 3 spin by Kyle Busch, causing the big one on the front stretch. According to Radioactive, the 99 was going full throttle into there. Thank you, Greg Alding.
Exactly. He doesn't know how to
Boyer
slow
spotter,
down from what I saw too.
Brett Griffin. He's amazing. Should do stand-up comedy. Yeah, couldn't think of it. But yeah, Brett Griffin, he's hilarious. Jokes aside, it was a pretty big wreck. I believe it was 15 cars.
13, 15 cars between that.
Yeah.
A lot of back markers and a couple big names.
And though Kyle Busch pretty much spun by himself and put him into a hole with some damage, running without a bumper cover at a track. Bristol is a short track, but it's a fast short track, and you could say that a rear bumper cover not being on the car can definitely help you in terms of speed. That does not take away from the fact that Kyle Busch had an amazing run. I mean, he drove from like 2 laps down without that rear bumper cover. NASCAR. He was able to get the lucky dog over Kevin Harvick, and he was driving through the field. I think it was up in the top 5, and then let's just stop it. Let's just stop it right there.
Okay.
What do we have to say about Kyle Busch's comeback throughout the day with his help from his friend bumper cover there?
The only driver that probably be able to do that.
He is probably the only.
The only damn driver that would try it. Everybody else would retire.
I wouldn't say the only driver. Clint Boyer went 3 laps down at Chicagoland and came back to finish 4th.
True.
Yeah. And I believe
Say
he
the
had
only driver, but to be real here,
it's like one of the only teams that never really give up. I should say. Okay.
Even though he's
but there's not many
ahead.
drivers that would recover from that. They would most drivers would just sit in the back most of the race.
They would either sit in the back or would retire from that damage. So
I thought Kyle Busch was done. I mean, you see the slightest hit take him out of the Xfinity race, and he's out here in the most destroyed race car, out here up in the top 5.
I feel he probably could have raced with the Xfinity, damn it, he just didn't want to. It was an Xfinity race. Once you're not
he
eligible
doesn't run for points. It doesn't matter if he can't win the race.
Eligible to win, once he's not eligible to win, he's not going to care.
What if he drove through the field the way he did Saturday? I don't know. But so Kyle Busch drove up through the field, and on his way up to the front, he quote just misjudged his approach to the 78 car and sent him for a ride. He said that himself. It was an accident. He took out Martin Truex Jr. in the front stretch with about 70 laps to go, and Truex was not
listening
the
on the radio
happiest.
after, at least he apologized and knew it was himself too.
Yeah, he
That
definitely
day,
apologized.
So. He didn't blame Truex for anything there.
But Truex was mad. He was
Yeah.
throwing things. He kicked his car.
No,
his
he was.
door.
He wasn't the maddest one. His fucking wife, man, damn.
Sherry Pollock's tweeted during the race, Kyle Busch is a moron.
No, but you didn't see the tweet after that. He said, well, she said, I think Truex should go fight him.
I did not see that tweet, no.
I didn't see that one either, but that's good.
So yeah, already the night was pretty spicy. Later in the race, it was 3 wide with Jimmy Johnson, Chris Buescher, and Kyle Busch. Yes, Chris Buescher was up there for position. Also with Jimmy Johnson up there for position in the top 10, close to a top 5. They were 3 wide. Jimmy kind of came up and squeezed all 3 of them into the wall. Kyle Busch, Chris Buescher had tire rubs. But for the most part throughout the day, several cars had great runs. Chris Buescher definitely one of them. He ran at the top 10 for a great majority of the time. Casey Kane was in the top 10 a bit. Jimmy Johnson running the top 10, which is better than what he has been somewhat running. I don't know, what are your thoughts on some of the drivers, and what other drivers had great runs?
I think from what Dylan was saying, Kane had a good run, other than the wreck early on, right?
Mm-hmm.
From what I heard. Other than that, what about, was it Blaney had a good run? for a
Blaney
while in the
led.
race? So,
All
Yeah,
I'm going to
Blaney
say
led
is who
121
was
laps.
that was placed in 40th the entire race, and then Greg Golding in 39th, and then they switched it in the final order.
Allmendinger.
Allmendinger and Golding.
Allmendinger and Golding got switched. Allmendinger was 40th all race, and NASCAR was like, you know what, AJ, we'll give you one spot.
All
It
I'm
seemed like.
going to say was that had to be pretty depressing for him though, the Dinger, because that's usually like a good track from the short tracks and the road courses. So being knocked out is probably pretty depressing.
I guess another person that had a good run, I guess you could say, would be Eric Jones in 5th again.
I'll tell you, Paul
I
Menard was.
already said since he won, Eric Jones, tons better.
How about Paul
and
Menard?
Blaney
who-
ended up 7th. Menard finished 36.
He finished 36, but he was in second, battling for
He
the
had
lead.
a hell of a
All
run
I'm going
going.
to say though is it's got to be depressing for Boyer too, because Boyer like led a ton of that race in the third stage. Like he pretty much led the entire third stage to
Yep, and then finished 6th.
have a bad restart and get fucked.
Yeah, Boyer led 36 laps.
Yep.
No, that's 36 fastest laps.
That's
My bad.
earlier.
He led 120 laps.
That's what I said. I was like, he led the entire third stage.
He and
And then
Blaney
just on
combined
that
for a
one.
total of 241 laps led. And they finished.
Dang. They finished
But after
6th and 7th.
after the first stage, you didn't really see like much of Blaney.
Out of the big 3, technically, that they've been talking about, Harvick was the best, only in 10th. So, you showed that's apparently, other than Kyle Busch, which is usually its best
Now,
track.
Kyle and Truex were like the fastest, but they both you know
Yeah.
had problems.
David
And
Reagan.
since Harvick was the only one not to really, well, actually they all had problems. Harvick went a lap down early, or not early, but like, what, second stage?
He had
I
a
think you
tire
could
issue,
say.
didn't he?
Yeah, it was like they said loose wheel or whatever on radioactive. They said so.
Oh, Trevor Bayne had a good run. We didn't even mention him. As much as it
Oh yeah, I
means something
forgot
to
he was
the-
top 10 all race.
Yeah, Trevor Bayne
we
had a
talk about that all
Top
the
10
time.
all race to
and he
finish
finished.
11.
He finished 11th. You have to feel bad. His average position was. Oh, his average position was 13th. Never mind. I'm getting this off of the loop data. He ran as average of 13th place. But That's okay. We noticed you, Bane.
Alright, one more I
David-
have is the Hendrick Motorsports team.
Everybody
We had
did
3
better.
in the top 10.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I was saying. 3 in the top 10. I don't know. When was the last time they had 3 in the top 10 this year?
And Byron finished 23rd.
Yeah, Byron though. That's
Byron's a
Byron.
disappointment. We don't know what the. we don't know
Byron
what the-
qualified 8th and still can't get a top 20 or top 15.
You have all these people who missed the third round, and they're out here doing better than Byron in the race.
I don't know if you would call this a good run, but Landon Castle got 25th in his double O car, but
Well, I would
For that
say
team, I
that,
guess
but
only
30,
win.
well, up to like 30th were DNF cars, so.
I was gonna
True.
say, but Landon Castle, his highest position all day was 22nd. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. was second,
and finished 24th. Yep.
finished 24th. David Reagan
Benedetto
was
got 22nd.
apparently David Reagan led for a scoring loop along with Brad Keselowski and Jimmy Johnson, who did not get laps led but led for a scoring loop. That's cool, I guess.
Okay.
Um,
I mean, with Kyle Busch's damaged car, he still managed 20th,
The
guys.
top-
He still finished the race.
that was insane. Kyle Busch definitely. I say this all the time. I don't really care for Kyle Busch. I mean, let him be a personality and all, but he is a hell of a driver, man. He deserves what he has.
And I know there was a lot of wreck cars that day, but then you had Kane 15th, David Reagan 17th. So 2 good runs for those teams.
But it's good runs, and good runs. Let's talk about the playoff standings. After Bristol, 9 drivers are locked in on wins, and 12 drivers are locked in, 3 of them by points. Kevin Harvick, Kyle Busch, Martin Truex Jr., obviously with the most wins. Clint Bowyer with 2. Logano, Elliott, Kurt Busch, and Eric Jones, and Austin Dillon all have wins to lock themselves in. Ryan Blaney, 240 above Ricky Stenhouse. Brad Keselowski 237, and Kyle Larson 236. Heading into Darlington after an off week, Denny Hamlin, Eric Almirola, Jimmy Johnson, and Alex Bowman are not locked into the chase. But you can almost say they're kind of safe bets.
You could almost say Denny's a safe bet.
Especially since Stenhouse is not that good at Darlington.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, if we got a first-time winner this season at Darlington, who would it be?
I'm going to say Menard or Suarez.
I would say Suarez.
And
Because
I think
Gibbs,
Menard
that's
runs
usually
good,
one
he
of
just gets bad luck.
Gibbs's best tracks is Darlington.
Carl Edwards won at a 19 car a couple years ago.
True.
And Denny wins it all the time. Kyle wins it all the time. Truex won it twice, I think it was.
Well,
Jimmy-
people out of, like, people with no wins, Denny could still probably get it then. But he's also not been doing as good either.
Jimmy Johnson won Darlington in 2012, getting Hendrick's 200th victory. Chase Elliott got the 250th Hendrick victory this season at Watkins Glen. You got to be like every other podcast, every other show that talks about NASCAR. You have to mention Chase Elliott's Watkins Glen win. That was the 250th victory for Hendrick Motorsports.
Congrats, Emerson.
But anyway, for the most part, it looks like we're not going to get any new winners. You can almost say for sure Hamlin will be locked in after Darlington, provided that there's not like a new winner and everything. Hamlin will be locked in after Darlington. Almirola will be pretty close, if not locked in, and Johnson should be safely in. As long as there's not a new winner, Jimmy will be good. Bowman is plus 79 on Stenhouse. So unless there's a new winner, Bowman is pretty much safely in as long as he runs consistently top 15s at the least. So I guess we have a couple things. Cup Series veteran, you could say, Casey Kane, last week, he announced his retirement after, how many full seasons? 10? 12? 13 full seasons, right? I'm pretty sure it's 13. But Casey Kane had a great career. Had like 20 wins. No, not 20 wins.
He had 18.
He had 18. So just shy of 20. Wow, I was trying to pull it up and I can't. Come on. Yeah, you know what? Okay. But yeah, Casey Kane had a great career. People like to argue, Dylan, that Kane would be a champion if it wasn't for Ray Everham expressing his deep interest for Aaron Crocker in the Xfinity Series or Van Bush Series.
He banged a 6 out of 10 to lose his team.
Yeah. Prior to Watkins Glen, Kane had the last win for Hendrick Motorsports. That is his last win, the 2017 Brickyard 400. He's also won the 2010 Gatorade Duel, the 2008 Sprint All-Star Race, and has won the Coca-Cola 600 in 2006, 2008, and 2012. 18 wins, 177 top 10s, and 27 poles for 528 races for Casey Kane. His best points finish was 4th in 2012. First win was the 2005 Chevy American Revolution 400 in Richmond. I don't know, thoughts on Casey Kane announcing his retirement?
Kind of depressing.
It's depressing, and then at least as of right now, his last win is Indy. Unless his last chance, I think, is more likely Dega coming up later this year. It'd be cool to see him win that, but if not, oh well. At least his last race was Indy for a win.
It's depressing. As more years go on, the less childhood drivers I have.
Yeah. For all of us.
Yeah, it's just NASCAR it in a whole is taking a big turn. We have so many drivers. We're gonna talk about another one that we definitely watched growing up, coming up later. But yeah, Casey Kane was an amazing driver. You gotta remember his foray with Red Bull Racing in 2011, winning the second Phoenix race, the first race after it being repaved. So the race Casey Kane won with Red Bull. He then was with Hendrick.
Only driver to win in all manufacturers.
That's true. Yep.
True that.
He's won in a Dodge,
Ford, Yoder,
the Toyota in 2011, and a Chevy. So yeah, Casey Kane, he will be missed. I don't know. He announced his full-time Cup Series retirement. That doesn't rule out an Xfinity Series ride. Also, with Elliott Sadler announcing his retirement, that could open up. We never know. But Kane is 38 years old. I'm sure he wants to spend time with Tanner, which is his son, a little bit more. And yeah, I think he's fulfilled a career. I mean, he's definitely a race winner, very capable of of the sport he's in, like very capable to drive a race car, very, I would say, qualified with 18 Cup victories and at his highest points finish being 4th. So consistency over a season, especially since that was his first season with that equipment. And yeah, Martin Truex Jr. News came in, rumors came in, not really news. Or was it news actually that if Furniture Row does not get a
it is officially news now because Truex even commented on him. Bristol
Yeah, Truex
in his Bristol interview before the race happened on the pre-show. They went to Truex and he said, "I'll update you in the next 2 weeks if we're gonna be able to stay a team or not."
Yeah, that is that. Furniture Row Racing said if they do not get a full-time sponsor for 2019. They will be shutting down shop.
I feel like if Truex doesn't get a ride next year, he also will more likely either try to find a
series
ride or
champion not get a ride.
How do you think
if he doesn't, he's gonna
defending series champion? He's the most recent. Right now, he's the most recent series champion.
And he has no sponsor.
And he has no sponsor. 5-Hour Energy's
Like Jimmy,
leaving NASCAR.
that's like Jimmy Johnson not being able to find a ride next season if he was like getting kicked off a Hendrick.
Yeah, I mean, for Jimmy, what a season to lose a sponsor, man. I mean, he has shown nothing that he deserves a sponsor.
Yeah.
The only thing that's
I
gonna
wouldn't say nothing.
The only thing he has to show is making the chase. Yeah.
Getting into the chase is where they have a sponsor. There's plenty of teams that run in like 30th place and get full-time sponsorship.
That is very fair. Yeah. But yeah, Jimmy, pretty much as soon as Lowe's announced they were leaving, Jimmy stopped winning. But anyway, about Truex. Yeah, so his best.
That just shows the downturn of the sport. Every sponsor's leaving. Subway left completely. Home Depot left. Everything leaves. Everything is leaving.
Sponsors, drivers.
Like, NASCAR is gonna have to start like looking at very small companies to sponsor cars. Basically, is what's gonna happen.
Or what? Yeah, what it's gonna be is gonna be like it's gonna be it's gonna look like
desperate for. You know, like sponsorship to get on TV, to get
stock
people
cars
to actually buy their products now.
Stock cars are going to start to look like racers with all these stickers.
I'm gonna be really, really depressed when I see Kyle and Denny not have FedEx or M&M's if that happens. That would be really depressing.
M&M's leaves, damn. Same with FedEx, like, that's just like Johnson losing
sponsored
Lowe's.
his entire career. God damn.
Yeah, Denny.
And that's the only thing Denny drives ever, except
Besides
the sports clips
once a
at
year.
Darlington. He
He
drives sports clips once a year at Darlington every time.
Like Jimmy Johnson, he drives 35 of his 36 races for Lowe's or Cobalt. Cobalt's part of Lowe's.
So, like, you know how Chase has Napa? Imagine if he stayed in the sport forever and got that, and then that leaves. Like,
But Napa
that
really
could leave
isn't
anytime
full
right
time.
now.
Napa doesn't full time sponsor. They sponsor
they-
actually less and less races for him.
They are co-primary sponsors with
Sure.
Hooters.
But I'm saying like Napa's
What about
sponsoring
Sun
less and
Energy?
less race. Napa is they're sponsoring less and less for him.
Hey Jaden, welcome to the podcast. Go ahead and leave your opinions on
I
the
think
topics we're
Hooters
talking
has
about.
picked up more races than
Hooters has,
Napa.
yes. The sponsorship in
Isn't-
general. How
I don't know, they just did Kelly Blue Book. Never mind.
I mean, it does have to say something. If the defending series champion, a 7-time series champion,
Oh yeah, Target left, DeWalt left,
Yeah.
5-Hour Energy.
so many very
What
good
was-
drivers.
What was the
very
battery that the 42 had too? Energizer?
Energizer?
That left.
Oh, you know it'd be really fucking weird seeing
but
a two
Energizer
car
was like
without
very
Miller.
part-time.
Miller, if that left.
Yeah, the two
Oh.
cars without Miller, that would
Well,
be.
think about if Harvick, like Budweiser.
Okay, so here's the, I don't know.
But see, I
much-
can see
Bush.
without that. But the two Miller is iconic. That is just the two is always
Always.
Miller, always Miller. No matter who drives the car.
What about
Two
Bush
Miller.
for Harvick? Hasn't that he've always had that?
No,
Or
that was
some kind of
mostly
beer?
Junior. It went from
Oh, okay.
Junior to Kane to Harvick.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
Budweiser, yes. And
So Budweiser moves around, but Miller is
And
always.
one thing
Budweiser-
you know
Bill
that will never
Elliott-
leave is Haas. Haas will always be there.
there's some
If
sponsors.
you
Oh, man.
can't sponsor if you can't sponsor your own car, there's something wrong. Okay?
Furniture Row. Furniture Row.
Yeah, like how is
But see,
Furniture
I
Row?
don't see.
Like,
I don't get that. They were fine sponsoring their own car for the longest time. Why can't they sponsor their own car now? What?
I don't understand. It's
It's
just
kind of like McDonald's left, I think, or they had like one race this year.
McDonald's is
and
still
they used to sponsor McMurray's
technically
all the time.
the co-primary sponsor, but they've only sponsored 3 races for McMurray this season,
And one for
Yeah, they're
Larson.
probably gone.
and one
They're
for
probably
Larson.
gonna leave.
Yeah, but they're just gonna slide out of the sport. They're not gonna announce it, or they're not gonna take the subway route and say, "Oh, a fan gave him Dunkin' Donuts and they serve breakfast. We're out of here." That was the stupidest thing ever. A fan gave him some Dunkin' Donuts to hand out to others, and Subway's like, "Yeet."
Yeet, bye.
And their
Kind
excuse
of like
was
if
because
Caleb left McDonald's, right?
their excuse was, since Subway does breakfast and Dunkin' Donuts does breakfast, that is a sponsor conflict. We are out. See ya.
Yeah, they don't. And they literally just started making breakfast sandwiches, Subway. And I didn't even know Subway was open that early.
I did. But I don't know.
I tried it. It doesn't taste that good.
It's not amazing.
I haven't.
Well, I tried the egg, like, on a normal sandwich thing. I was like, that egg does not taste good at all.
Yeah,
Like,
it was nothing special. Yeah, Bass Pro
Another
Shops
weird one.
is
22 without Pennzoil.
Yeah.
oof. Yeah, 22's always been Shell Pennzoil.
But the other one weird is that Ganassi cars. This is more an Indy car without Target. That's
Oh man,
pretty weird.
it's tough this season. I can't get used to Dixon in a PNC Bank car.
You know, Ganassi. Ganassi used to be Target Ganassi. It was literally Target had
Yeah.
co-ownership with
Yes.
Ganassi with that team.
Well, I
They
think
went from-
overall, over the whole United States, I think, like, they got bought out, I think that's what happened.
I'm just
From
saying,
what I heard.
Target used to co-own the Ganassi team, even.
Well, I'm just saying, you can't, I don't think it's NASCAR's fault that they left, though. I heard, like, some of the Targets that are around here are closing because they got bought out by other people and stuff.
Well,
So-
Target was basically like losing tons of money. I
Wait,
know why
guys,
Target left is because
what
they
if
couldn't
it-
fund.
What if it's not
Just-
NASCAR and it's the government? Toys R Us left.
True.
They fell off the face of the planet. Guys,
I thought they had a great
We're
business
losing
going, though.
businesses.
Like, I thought Toys R Us was, like, perfectly fine, and I
I'm
guess
just-
I mean,
No one goes to Toys R Us for toy. Like literally, like I can go get like
Online.
if a
Literally-
nigga wants something, it's online. Amazon.
That-
Just go to Amazon.
that or
like,
there's so
I think
many
GameStop
stores.
and stuff could close someday, too, because you could just order
Oh,
shit online.
GameStop is not permanent.
It's not
That
gonna
is-
close, but
GameStop is
Yeah.
not permanent.
It's like Radio Shack.
Not
That shit was not permanent. That shit was like a little like thing that just.
Anybody remember
Family Video?
Blockbuster?
have you ever heard of that?
Oh, Blockbuster. That died. That
Blockbuster,
died really
yeah.
fast.
No, but what was it? Yeah, Toys R Us. Everything in Toys R Us was expensive. You can go to like Walmart and get the same thing for like 10 less bucks.
Yeah.
True. Toys R Us was really expensive.
I mean, there's other, like, video game stores, like, versus GameStop that you can also get some, you know,
Best
like,
Buy?
there's a place here called, like, Disc Replay, and they do it, like, a little bit cheaper, too, here, for games, so.
I'm just like, Best Buy is better, and like Walmart and Target, since those are stores you usually go for other things,
I
especially
think
Walmart.
Best Buy is dying, though, too.
Well, nah, it's just
You don't
you don't hear that much about Best Buy because it's all electronics and expensive stuff.
True.
I don't think they would die. They're the best place to go for like computers and shit like that.
Definitely.
I thought that's called, like, Micro Center. I don't know if you guys have a Micro Center.
I
where you are, but
do.
Usually Micro Center is pretty good for,
No,
I
that
think
is-
those
that's-
are making
that's
more
a good
sense.
rival.
But still, most people go to Best Buy.
Yeah, Best Buy has.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if that's better. Most people go to Best Buy.
I mean, it's like if you're looking for a PC, if you don't start off online, you start off at Best Buy. Or you start
Right.
off online, then go to Best Buy. But yeah, Martin Truex Jr. and several other drivers losing sponsors. What a tough time for NASCAR and sponsorship. I don't know how we keep re-signing new series sponsors. I don't understand.
Do you think Monster Energy will stay?
I
they're
I mean,
they're
they've been
gonna be
sponsoring
leaving.
Kurt less and less also, so.
Monster Energy is so involved with other motorsports. I think they will leave NASCAR, but stay in motorsports.
But see, I think Monster likes sponsoring everything. Like energy drinks seem to like sponsoring everything. Like Red Bull and Monster just go and sponsor
Red Bull is
everything
everywhere.
they can.
They do it so people drink it.
I'm
It
just like
works.
Red Bull and Monster sponsor literally everything.
You forgot Subway
I bet
is a
you
fan,
Kurt
fam.
did not have that sponsor Monster. He would never drink that more likely. Just because it's not good for him, you know.
How many drivers like actually drink energy drink besides Kurt and Kyle? They're sponsored, but like how many drivers actually drink energy drinks?
Probably not really. Not a lot. That's why they target the fans with it.
But yeah, sponsorship in general for NASCAR, probably motorsports in general, is on a downfall. we move on to some more, quote, I guess, silly season updates. Front Row Motorsports bought out BK Racing for $2.9 million, I believe was the price. It's not
Wait, what happened? What?
Front Row bought out BK Racing.
Yep.
For like 2.9 mil, but it's not settled yet. I believe they're waiting until Thursday for a better bid. GMS.
How can Front Row, that shitty ass team, afford to buy a whole fucking team, and Furniture Row can't sponsor their own team?
To be fair, how
with Bass Pro, I should say.
I mean, to be honest, like their drivers finished good enough to where they probably be.
They don't wreck.
Okay,
they don't wreck the cars. That's what Front Row
Except
has.
this last weekend, McDowell just got unlucky in that first wreck.
I mean, but
and he
see,
got collected,
that's big
so.
wrecks that they don't have control over. But when it's not a big wreck, they don't wreck the cars themselves.
So, talking about NASCAR, do you think teams effectively lose money at play trucks for how much they wreck?
I'm sure they do.
Yes. Yes.
I think the only way teams gain money out of plate tracks is merchandise. Honestly.
All I'm going to say though is that's why these teams ever like going into the truck series. It's just a wreck fest where you lose money.
True.
Yeah.
That's why you see no big teams spawn like go in there and make trucks like nothing. You don't see Hendrick fucking truck.
Kyle Busch with Joe Gibbs support.
Yep.
I would think.
Like Brad backed out too. After what, a couple seasons?
Because I'm sure Brad saw this is not helping me whatsoever. There's no.
He said he wants to save money and make a cup team eventually. That's what he said after he backed out of that.
And I think.
But that effectively means that he's losing money, making a truck team.
Well, yeah, no, but that's why he backed out. I'm like, I think Brad's like, you know what? Screw this. I'm losing money. All these guys suck. I'm not getting anything out of this.
Do you think he will actually make a cup team though? Or do you think if it's going to keep on
I think he's going to retire. I think he'd retire.
What I don't understand is that these active cup drivers making truck teams, like you're pretty much just like saying like I'll find people to replace me in a year or two. Like really?
True.
Good job. You're basically finding your replacement.
Remember Kevin Harvick Incorporated and who else had teams? Like I don't know who else had teams. Kevin Harvick, Brad Keselowski, and Kyle Busch are the only drivers I know of that had teams.
I was gonna say Junior, but I don't think he ever had a truck one. He only has.
No, his 0-0 was his Cole Custer.
Okay.
But that was also that was like a one-off season kind of thing, like a one.
No, but I'm saying that was his truck.
Yeah, but
didn't Kane drive it too at one point through that season?
He drove it one race and he won in that race at Charlotte.
Yeah, that was, I believe, his last truck race. 2017, Charlotte was his last truck race and win.
Yep.
I'm surprised. I didn't know that. You know, Elliott Sadler is the first person to win in the truck series.
First ever?
Huh.
Yeah. 1995.
He has the first.
We'll talk about that in a little bit.
He has the first ever truck win.
I believe it. He's been around that long. But anyway, yeah. The story. Yeah, Front Row Motorsports bought out the BK Racing charter and fun stuff for 2.9 mil. Not settled until tomorrow. The rumors GMS is looking into outbidding for Front Row. Basically, they're just gonna acquire the BK Racing charter, and whatever else, whatever cars that they had. But yeah.
Did they really want their cars though? Did you really want that?
I think the cars are fine. It's the drivers they hire.
The BK?
You think the BK cars are fine?
I don't think the BK cars are fine. Damn.
And also, they couldn't use it anyway because they're Toyota bodies.
And take off the body,
They're
put it in the Ford body. Front Row is Ford.
No, I'm saying BK
You were talking about
and GMS is Chevys.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I was talking about Front Row that currently has the bid, but yeah. Yeah, BK Racing definitely getting bought out by at least Front Row. GMS is the rumor to outbid Front Row. We move on to the Xfinity Series. Kyle Larson well, I could kind of say lucky circumstances, but definitely was at least the second best car there. Able to...
wait, we didn't comment something about the Cup race.
What?
Larson finished second to a Busch again.
And Elliott got third. The two guys that finished second half the time, second and third again.
Chase Elliott didn't get third. He was depressed in his interview didn't get second. He was depressed in his interview because he got third. You can hear it in his voice.
Larson finished second to a Busch again.
But Larson did
at Bristol.
But Larson did get his first Bristol win. I believe it was his first Bristol win.
Yeah, it was
in the Xfinity Series, with lucky competitor acquaintance-ish of his, Kyle Busch, taking himself out like lap 70, running the car too hard, breaking a tire, A-arm, whatever, hitting a wall. Kyle Busch went out early after leading and went out early. And pretty much paved the way for Kyle Larson to dominate the rest of the Xfinity Series field and win. Thoughts on Kyle Busch taking himself out 70 laps early and Kyle Larson winning? Or 70 laps.
I can say something about I can say something about Larson though. Like he didn't care about, like, he actually just likes racing. Like he was in his interview just like, I wish Kyle didn't wreck so I could race against him.
Yeah, he did say that.
I mean, it was no challenge after he wrecked, basically. That's what he's saying. So,
I mean,
but I'm just like, any other driver would be like, it's good that they would like that car wrecked. They went out and they won the race easy.
I mean, of course Kyle Larson likes racing though. I mean, you see, he does like so much dirt racing throughout the week.
He does as much as he can, just so he's busy and having fun, doing what he loves.
I mean, if you had the
Other
money...
people, I don't think, would say the same thing.
If you had the money and you were able to, would you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
The Xfinity race, what was it? It was, the only wrecks were of the back markers of the Xfinity Series field. It was a terrible time for everybody.
I don't know.
It was a good race,
their cars got...
but it could have been so much better. Pretty much all the cautions were from back markers wrecking each other. What wasn't it? Vinny Miller and somebody else?
Oh my god, he caused like 3 cautions.
Yeah.
Vinny Miller caused like 3 cautions. Oh my Jesus. He's becoming the new, like, Stephen Wallace of the Xfinity Series right now.
3 teams also got penalties after that race for Xfinity though.
Oh yeah, the 12 and the 22. I know that.
And the random 76 car.
Oh. I didn't even know.
No, what I want to know is why is Cindric still eligible for the chase? Why is he? Why? Like he missed races, Cindric. Like they said at Bristol that he was still eligible for some reason.
He got a waiver or something, I think.
But why? It's like the same circumstances as who is the fuck? I forgot who it is that he just didn't race because John Hunter. Because he didn't do all the races, and the only reason he didn't because he didn't get the car all the time.
Somebody got an eligibility waiver. I don't know who it was.
Todd Gilliland.
Oh, that was just him?
Yeah,
because that's because he wasn't old enough to do the races that he missed.
Yeah, but he ran full time for all the races he could run. Yeah, the only you said he missed races, and yes, he still technically missed races. He only missed 1 race this season, Austin Cindric. That's still missing a race, I know. But just saying, he's made 22 of the 23.
I don't get how he's so eligible. Like,
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
I bet you NASCAR is probably like, it's 1 race, we don't really give a shit. That's probably what happened there.
Wait, no, he's made all the
give
races. I guess. Hold on.
I haven't seen him every race. Like the 22, the 12 all switch, and he doesn't get the 60 car. Briscoe gets the 60 car.
Because he finished 9th Daytona, 5th Atlanta, 2nd Vegas, 2nd Phoenix, 2nd Fontana. He won Texas, 7th Bristol, 2nd Richmond, 3rd Talladega, 6th Dover, 1 Charlotte, 4th Pocono, 13th Michigan, 11th Iowa, 1 Chicago, 7th at Daytona, 12th at Kentucky, 2nd at Loudon, 3rd at Iowa, 1 Watkins Glen. Wait, what? No, this is the 22 car, huh? This doesn't make sense.
Oh,
Yeah.
well,
Wait, no. I'm now confused. Oh, that's start. Yeah, he started on all those positions. Never mind. But he started first at Watkins Glen, started 7th at Mid-Ohio, and started 3rd at Bristol. that was stupid of me. But yeah.
But wait, how? At Watkins Glen, the 22 was Logano, and the 12 was Keselowski.
Yep.
Oh no, wait, flip. Never mind, flip. That's it. I forgot which one drove the 12 and which one the 22, but it was Brad Keselowski and Logano.
It was both of them raced that. So.
Anyway, yeah, he's made 22 of 23 races.
Actually, no, I thought Joey drove the 22 and whoever else was in the 12 because I thought Brad commentated.
No, Brad, because remember, Brad fucked up and completely went wide in turn 1.
Oh
Okay,
yeah,
yeah,
and wheel hopped it and spun.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can't answer that. But Austin Cindric, Tyler Reddick, Christopher Bell are rookies in the playoffs right now.
Because the 60 is Briscoe or Ty Majeski every time.
They have him. They have Cindric listed as the 12.
Whatever.
Anyway, let's talk about the playoff standings on the note of Austin Cindric. Ross Chastain is the closest to the cutoff. He's 42 above Michael Annett. Going into Road America, and what's the next race? They go into Indy, and Vegas is not in the playoffs for Xfinity.
Is there isn't?
It's not. I believe the Roval is the first. I believe the Roval is the first race of the playoffs for Xfinity, or the last race of the regular season. Hold on.
Alright, so they technically have 2 races left before Chase.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping Ross Chastain can stay ahead of Michael Annett. It would be really cool to see him actually make something.
Well, Annett did gain points on him.
Yeah, I was gonna say he gained points on Ross, but Michael Annett is, I mean, for being behind Ross Chastain in a junior motorsports car.
Okay, so sorry, yeah. Wait, what? All right, Richmond marks the beginning of the playoffs for Xfinity. So they have Las Vegas, Indy, and Darlington, and Road America. 4 races. Ross Chastain's 42 above Michael Annett. Does Ross Chastain hold on? Ryan Reed 97 ahead. Tiff's 143. Cindric 145.
Chastain, if he doesn't wreck in the next race at the road course, he'll be fine. I think.
I don't know.
I think he runs decent at the road course.
So hoping Chastain gets that junior motorsports car in the 1.
Let's remember the Xfinity series. They're usually the wreck fest of the weekend. Darlington, Indy coming up. Las Vegas is probably going to be clean, but Darlington and Indy are probably going to be wreck fest.
I don't think Chastain's going to be getting the 1. I think they're going to be.
What I want to know is why did Xfinity take over the role of the wreck fest? Like, they wreck more than the trucks at this point.
They do, and I don't understand. Oh no, the trucks. I don't know. Trucks and Xfinity. Trucks are easy to drive. I guess that may be the reason why. I don't know. The Xfinity series is full of people who don't have it anymore, people who have nowhere else to go, and people who suck and wreck. That's what I think of the Xfinity series. Or people who just want to come down and race a race.
True.
That's the Xfinity series. People want to race, people have nowhere to go, people who want to race, people who have nowhere to go, and people who suck. That's the Xfinity series. But yeah, right now, 4 races left to the playoffs. You can pretty much say Daniel Hemrick with 331. Because, see, 4 times 60 is 240. So yeah, Daniel Hemrick, Cole Custer, Elliott Sadler are pretty much locked in on points. Christopher Bell, Justin Allgaier, and Tyler Reddick have 1 races.
I think Elliott Sadler is definitely fine.
I mean, so. he has 356 points, and there's 4 races left. If he gets eliminated, I'm gonna be livid.
I think he's locked.
That's what I'm saying. I think Sadler, Cole
So-
Custer, and Daniel Hemrick are locked. Brandon Jones is nearly 200 ahead. He's 197. He's 7th. 181 for
I
Ryan.
think what Chastain's
Truex.
the only one in danger, right? Technically.
Chastain is 42 ahead, and Ryan Reed, you can say. What I don't get
How
is
many does Ryan Reed have?
97 ahead. But Austin Cindric,
Okay,
if
so
he's
he's
missed
still-
races, he's 145 above the cutoff. So if he's missed races, he's pretty good.
Oh, what'd you say?
If Austin Cindric has missed races, he's pretty good because he's 145 above the cutoff. Vinny is so
John Hunter Nemechek is pretty much in. He's like 14th in points, and he's missed basically half the season. So
Yeah, they don't even consider John Hunter Nemechek on Xfinity points.
He
yeah, but
should
I'm just saying he missed half of the races. He's 14th in points, I think.
I mean, if they're giving all these other people waivers and stuff right now, why
But
not?
they don't give
John
waivers
Hunter
for
one?
people that just can't get a ride. Like they only do it for like injuries, or like very rare cases where you really couldn't make the race or something like that.
Yeah, it's the age. Alright.
Okay, right here. So Austin Cindric has made every race. He's made all 22.
What the hell did he drive at the
Because
cut?
the 23rd race
What did
is
he drive?
Road America. The 23rd race is Road America. John Hunter, yeah, you are right though. John Hunter Nemechek's
But
made
what about
12
the Glen?
races. Hold on.
I'm just, what was he driving? Because he didn't drive the 60 and he didn't drive the 12 or 22. He driving.
Austin Cindric drove the 60 at Watkins Glen.
Did he?
Yes. It says it right here.
That's weird.
How was that weird? He drove a car at Watkins Glen. That's what race car
I
drivers are
didn't
supposed to
think
do at
that's what
Watkins
they were
Glen.
doing. Oh well. Okay, I'm listening.
I'm just saying, driving a
Uh.
race car, I'm not gonna drive a street car. Vinny is so underfunded. He had a patriotic banner on the car. Yeah. Anyway, so heading into Road America weekend, our lovely Hall of Famer Bill Elliott will be making his debut at Road America. I say debut at Road America because it will be his first race at Road America, and you know what that means? A Hall of Famer is going to have rookie stripes. Because it's his first race at that racetrack, he's considered a rookie. He has to go through the rookie meeting and has rookie stripes for Road America. Hall of Famer Bill Elliott will have rookie stripes at Road America. Or at least
Oh, I
it's
guess.
considered a rookie.
What I want to know is Spencer Gallagher just like never going to be in the...
I'm confused. Why is Gallagher like not racing in his car?
I'm just like, there was no reason for him not to be racing at Bristol. Like, he didn't have like any reason not to be racing at Bristol. Why was he not in there at Bristol?
They're probably like, screw you, Gallagher. That's basically what's happening right now.
I feel like
The person
since-
that got them the win this season, the only driver to win in the car.
I feel like they just don't care about him until next season because their chance of making the playoffs is trashed because he was suspended.
Which is, yeah, you know, he was suspended in Dega. You know, he only didn't race 2 laps up to Dega. He raced every lap but 2 up to Dega when he got, suspended.
Damn. But yeah, Bill Elliott, Hall of Famer rookie at Road America. So let's talk about the Road America race. 45 laps, which still makes me mad. It should be 50 laps. That's what a real Road America race is. But 45 laps for the Johnsonville 180. That sounds so stupid. I hate saying that. But the Johnsonville 180 at Road America this weekend. Who wins? How many cautions? How many? I don't know.
Winner, Cindric.
Cindric wins? Road America? Okay.
I'm gonna hope for rain. Probably not, but I'm gonna hope for rain this weekend in the race, just to see another eventful race like that. But either way, that track will be eventful.
Yeah, I love Road America. Still, my favorite Road America race is the 2011 Bucyrus 200, back when it was 50 laps, and they had 3 overtime attempts. And if you think drivers have a hard time making it on fuel for 45 laps, remember they basically had to split this race in half. And so splitting it in half for 50 laps, and they ran 7 laps overtime. Not everybody made it back to the start-finish line under the caution. Justin Allgaier had the race won in 2011, and the caution came out on the white flag. He came into turn 5, ran out of gas. So,
That's just road course racing in NASCAR. Fuel is always run thin at road courses.
Minus Nova.
yeah, because you know why? Because for a road course race, a road course strategy, usually you work the race backwards. And you hear that said, basically they go from the last lap, the scheduled distance, let's say Sonoma, 110, and let's say for a league race, you could run 17 laps on the tank of fuel. Or we did 100 laps, or 101 laps. So 101 minus 17, okay, we pit at 85-ish. You know, that works at 16 laps. 85 works, right? Yeah. All right, and then you keep working backwards from there. So that's why road courses always come down to fuel mileage, even with stages. Because crew chiefs are so geared to work them in reverse, because you can't lose a lap. Well, unless you're terrible, then you can lose a lap. But you shouldn't lose a lap at Road America. Lap times are well over 2 minutes. A pit stop, an entire drive down pit lane and a pit stop should not take any longer than 45 seconds. Road America's pit lane is long and uphill for the first part, so. But yeah, Road America, I think, I think Allgaier can do it. I really think Allgaier can win Road America.
I mean, who was in the 22? Austin, or is that
Mid-Ohio was Cindric.
Cindric, I think, could win it if he has a good day again.
See, look at me and Mark both like Cindric. Because Cindric should have won Mid-Ohio, and then, Allgaier and all that just had.
I mean, I feel like Allgaier goes back-to-back on the road courses.
I mean, it'd be cool to see Elliott Sadler win, but he hasn't really been doing it. He hasn't gotten close.
Where do we think Bill Elliott finishes?
I'm going to give him a top 10, maybe like 8th.
I was gonna say, if not a top 10, I'm gonna give it, 15th, 14th.
I say Bill Elliott will finish 16th.
Alright, all different spots.
Alright, so I guess that's Xfinity. Oh, no. We have to talk about our lovely driver number 1. If you haven't guessed already, because we've mentioned it several times, Elliott Sadler is retiring from the sport. This one should definitely. I mean, I know Casey Kane has been there. We can remember Casey Kane a lot, but also Elliott Sadler. He's been there all the way from when we were pretty much before we were all born. He's been racing in the sport.
Yep.
Elliott Sadler, not the best career, but definitely a decent one. He's won races. Definitely, I think, is capable of being a Cup driver. I think should have finished his career out in Cup, but he's doing very well for what he's doing in Xfinity.
Well, he did the same thing like Crafton and Sauter do. It just like, I could go to Cup, but I'd rather be like a championship driver in here.
Exactly what Matt Crafton said when he was interviewed after his second championship. He's like,
Yep.
I'd like to go to Cup, but why would I go to Cup and run and finish 30th when I can stay here and win races?
Sure.
That's what Crafton said, and I mean, yeah, I agree. Trucks are fun. You're doing good. Why change? Elliott
And you
Sadler,
actually
he
get a little bit
stepped
more
up.
time with your family, like if you want to be somebody that
Well,
actually
they
wants
have
time with the
like
family,
an
'cause they have
entire
less
month
races.
off.
Yeah.
It's like
months off.
Well, it's like February is Daytona. The week after, usually the end of February, March is Atlanta, and then after Atlanta, we don't see you until like April.
They need to schedule them races better.
Oh, okay. And then after Martinsville in April, we don't see y'all back until May with Kansas.
They probably, no, if they were smart, they could probably do one every other week.
I'm just saying they need to schedule that better. Like
What
that gets people uninterested in the series when you see them like once a month, and that is real. Like when you see like when something's like off for an entire like month, like people just stop getting interested because people like stuff like instant.
Well, what
like,
about
waiting, like all that.
What about F1? They're on their summer break and they're coming back right now.
Yeah, but they hyped theirs up with having like a lot of silly seasons.
True, silly season
crap
is
through
the name
theirs.
of. That is true. Silly season is the name of the summer break, pretty much.
And then coming back from the summer break is always Spa. So it's
And
always
stuff
a
that
big
goes around the
race for them.
country, like that particular country, you're always gonna get tons of rating just from the country you're in, just because if
Well, also,
it's like it's once a year in your country.
I guess also F1 does take a couple weeks off in between most races because they are going around the world. But yeah, I think what they could do for trucks, it's at 22 races. Let's just chop it down to 18, half of the Cup season, and then every other week, like Merkel said, we run a truck race. Every 2 weeks, let's run one truck race. Let's bring the races down to 18, but let's run one every other week. I like that. But anyway, Elliott Sadler, yeah. What are y'all's memories of Elliott Sadler? Obviously, the 2010 Pocono crash is easily the most memorable, but Elliott Sadler and his number 38 M&M's car.
Oh,
And then his number 19 Stanley and all that.
yeah.
And
The Homestead thing with
Air
Montoya. and the entire
and then
field-
getting also screwed out of last year's Xfinity title by Priest.
Yeah.
True.
This
But
is sad.
I'm just everybody got screwed out of the Xfinity title at one point in that race though. Like Hemrick was about to win and he like lost a battery or something like that.
Let's go back to a few of these past Homestead races. This is okay. Let's talk about 2013. This is before the Final Four even existed. It was Ty Dillon, Sam Hornish Jr. Sam Hornish Jr. had fresh tires, and Ty Dillon, Austin Dillon, didn't. It was Austin Dillon and Sam Hornish Jr. 2013. The caution comes out because somebody gets wrecked on the front stretch and they drop oil all the way down the front stretch. Okay, 17 laps to go. What are you going to do? Run them under caution? Red flag it? Because there's a fuck ton of oil? I think if there's oil all the way across the racetrack and it's going to take you 8 years to clean up that oil, red flag it.
Okay.
But know what NASCAR
Cup
does?
race,
Especially when
though.
it's a vital race.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Think about the Cup race this past weekend. They didn't call a damn caution for Eric Almirola for a while.
And he dropped oil
when he
all
was
around
going
the
around
track.
the track.
It's stupid.
And even, I don't know who it was over on Radioactive. I think it was, what, Boyer? Maybe? His crew? that said
Everybody,
something?
look, NASCAR is terrible when it comes to oil on the racetrack. Luckily, the Cup drivers are usually the ones with the problem, and they're the most skilled. They should be the most skilled. And they don't really wreck in the oil, but still.
All I'm going to say though is they give no fucks about oil. Oil is like not a. I don't care.
No, what's the best thing is the Cup Series. This was, I think, 2016 Homestead. Everybody's complaining about oil on the outside lane. You know who they asked? They asked Brett
They asked
Bodine,
Brett.
the pace car driver, inside pit lane wall. What? How's the track look, Brett? Track looks good, Tower.
All right, let's go racing. So keep it going.
How's the track look, Brett? Track looks good, Tower. He's
Well,
not
even
on
when
the
they are
track.
cleaning up the oil, they don't clean it properly. Dover, 2017.
I mean, you have to let Speedy Dry sit there to clean up oil, but I mean, I don't know. They could have red flagged it and ground the Speedy Dry. I think that's what they should have done. Well, in 2013
Well, yeah, because it
Homestead,
fucking ruined the finish. It made everyone wreck out of 2.
2013 Homestead, Austin Dillon's leading by 5 points, but Sam Hornish Jr. is a couple spots behind him and has fresh tires. Easily will be able to get around Austin Dillon, who stayed out and is on old tires, right? So they go green, and then the caution quickly comes out for a wreck coming out of turn 4, and this is like a 15 lap long caution to clean up some oil because they double them up. it already took like 5 laps to get the cars off the track, and so they double them up with like 11 or 10 laps to go. And you know what they do from like 10 laps to go to like 5 laps to go? Wave it off, wave it off, wave it off. They continue to wave off the restart forever. And Sam Hornish Jr. ran out of time to get past that many cars. And I feel like Hornish probably would still be in the sport, full time.
Sure.
If he won a championship. But that was that. And then we have J.J. Yaley in the 2016 Homestead race. This was with the Final Four. But
no, you want to know what Sam Hornish Jr.'s biggest mistake was? Leaving IndyCar.
Leaving IndyCar? He's amazing in Indy. He was amazing in IndyCar. I don't know how he would do now. But he was amazing in Champ Car.
He was, I think it was a 3-time champ, and he won it basically 3 in a row.
And left.
To be fair, the only thing I'll give him is that if you won that many championships, what else is there to prove?
And he won 3 championships in no time. Well, there's still more to prove because he was still like 3 championships doesn't make you anywhere close to the best driver in IndyCar. He could have kept on, and maybe we could be saying the best IndyCar driver ever was Sam Hornish Jr.
Yeah.
With wins and championships backing it up.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I got nothing on Sam Hornish. Other than he should have won the 2013 title with the fresh tires, but that's not what happened because NASCAR kept waving off a caution instead of red flagging it. It took like 15 laps to restart the race. But anyway, yeah, Elliott Sadler is retiring, leaving us. He will be missed. Definitely a childhood sight. Elliott Sadler was. And just another one of these drivers from your childhood leaving the sport. I mean, what do we say about
before my childhood?
Yeah, before all of ours.
I
mean, but he still raced throughout our.
He was still there, yeah.
He was still the 38 car when most of us started.
Tony Stewart, one of our childhood drivers, so.
Yeah, and Tony Stewart was racing NASCAR before most of us were born.
And also an IndyCar champ.
Well, it's kind of like Gordon.
Gordon, yeah, 1992.
I'm just saying, also an IndyCar champ. Tony Stewart.
Yep.
But yeah, several drivers leave in NASCAR in the past like 5 years. That's
definitely the best driver to go from open wheeled to NASCAR
is
Tony Stewart.
Tony Stewart. And now I'm not gonna say he's the best driver at what he does, but he's good enough to win in everything he drives. Juan Pablo Montoya, definitely an underrated driver.
Tony was to go to F1 with a really good ride, not a shit ride, that he could win.
I don't know. Well, like I forgot when he drove that. I forgot like how
Hamilton?
He was.
Lewis Hamilton,
Yeah.
Seat swap,
And
2011. First laps
how
ever
good it was in that.
in an F1 car. I think he was okay. I don't remember either. But remember, it was also
I would
raining.
expect the first lap he'd be cautious because it's a lot faster.
I remember Jeff Gordon when he did the driver's swap with Juan Pablo Montoya. Like I think like he was like
braking
able to qualify like.
He was braking so early.
Qualify.
Sorry.
Alright, what were you saying, Malika?
He was able to out-qualify some drivers in F1.
Oh, okay.
But let's go ahead.
Out, so.
This is gonna be more of a Malenko thing, but Malenko had the lovely opportunity to go down to Bristol, Tennessee. He wasn't there for the whole weekend. He wanted to maintain his commitment, stay faithful to my league. But he did go down for the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series race at Bristol, and earlier in the day he was able to see the Whelen Modifieds. I believe it's Bush's Beans 150 was the race.
Yeah, it was Bush.
Bush. All right, but so I'll talk to you more. Like I'll have you speak more about the modified race since we didn't see that, but the truck race.
Does that even get televised at some point, or?
It was televised today. I was watching it, and then I started to doze off, and I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna get up and do something before I fall asleep.
I only know a few drivers. A few of them I'm have to refer to them as number.
All right. At least for the truck race, you know these guys, and let's talk about the truck race. So it was early dominated by Christopher Bell, right? Early was Christopher Bell.
It was dominated by Christopher Bell for the first 30, then Hunter got by him.
Yeah, John Hunter
for a little
Nemechek
bit.
led pretty much the most of the race.
Why it took so long for Hunter to get to the lead though is because he had like the first 20 laps he had to like find out that he couldn't run the bottom. Every time he went to the bottom he would get loose, and then just like he was terrible on the bottom. He could only run the top.
See, we weren't able to watch John Hunter Nemechek every lap on TV. He was at the track.
I'm just like every time I like saw him, he would go to the he would try the bottom and then he would get loose, and the car behind him would just catch him and pass him those first like 20 laps.
But when John Hunter Nemechek did figure out which lane to drive around Bristol with his truck, he was able to lead most of the race. He led a good part of it. I believe. Did he win stage 2? Or was it stage 2?
Yeah, he won stage 2.
Yeah, he won stage 2. All right, but yeah, so Nemechek led a lot of the race. Friesen was in the top 3 a lot. Sauter was up there. Pretty much, if you looked at the top 11 for most of the race, it was all 8 playoff drivers, and then drivers who were not eligible for the playoffs.
The only one that had, I think, a difficult time was Dalton Sargent.
We'll get to him later also. So, but yeah.
But Crafton got I don't know if they showed it on television, but in
He got a
qualifying
penalty. Too.
no, Crafton had a problem in qualifying when Norm Benning just pushed him up the track.
Yeah, they
Oh,
talked about it.
Yeah, we saw that.
Yeah.
They actually showed that, I think, 5 times before the race started.
They showed it a lot, yeah.
But
And then wasn't able to
Crafton,
qualify for
speaking
the
of him,
final
he
round.
also got a penalty for lug nut infraction after the race. So I think they got
that
fined
isn't-
2,500.
That ain't shit.
Yeah, I was gonna say it don't really matter.
So
They're only getting fined money.
4-Sport is pretty much the SHR of the truck series right now. Well, they should be. There's 2 good drivers and then 2 drivers.
I don't know. Thorsport is like underperforming than what they usually do. Since they switched from Toyota, they actually underperformed compared to what they do in the Toyota.
It's what the actual thought was if somebody switched to Ford. That's what it would look like. But anyway, Crafton did make the playoffs. This was the final race of the regular season for the trucks. Johnny Sauter not only won the race, but won the regular season championship.
Oh, I don't know if you saw this at the end of stage 2 when Todd Gilliland went a lap down, but he completely pushed Noah Gregson. Then Noah Gregson got loose and then killed. Was it the 13?
So.
Todd Gilliland. Just completely, just like, because that's when he went a lap down. He went a lap down and then just threw his teammate Noah Gregson and then killed Noah Gregson into Matt Snyder. I think it's the 13, and then
Yeah,
Matt
Mike
Snyder
Snyder.
wrecked.
Yeah, truck race had very little wrecks, I believe. Right? Yeah, it didn't have that many.
Yeah, there was
wrecks.
not. There was really nothing.
It was a clean race. It
I
was
think
a fun
that was
race.
actually the one race that barely had anything happen.
But it was a fun race because with the PB&J and the outside lane, it was a great racing. Yeah, it was a little forced, but yeah, it's side-by-side racing a lot. People trying to get runs on the inside, and
You probably
people getting
didn't see
runs on
this
the
either, but actually, at the end of the race in the final stage, because you were probably just looking at John Hunter, but with like I think it was 6 to go, Stuart Friesen actually passed Sauter, and Sauter like almost took out Friesen.
Yeah, we
like
did
he
not
went
see
out
that.
there, pushed him basically into the wall.
We did not see that.
Yes, Johnny Sauter pushed Stuart Friesen basically into the wall.
I think we were talking about that though. Like, look at Friesen. Like, we were talking about on the ticker, but we didn't see the actual thing. But yeah, with like less than 5 to go, I think it was a 3 to go. John Hunter Nemechek started slowing down, really off the pace on the backstretch. And when you're off the pace of Bristol, you are off the pace.
Yeah, because they're only tenths away from each other.
And Johnny Sauter and company were able to get through. Johnny Sauter won the race, and the regular season championship. The playoffs are set for the truck series. John Hunter Nemechek led most of the race. This is Malenko's picture of the trucks before they started. This is the front half of the field, and then here's the back half of the field. 32 trucks qualified, or 37 trucks qualified. 32 obviously made it because that's the limit. Technically, 40 trucks attempted. 37 qualified. 3 trucks withdrew prior to the race. Imagine 40 trucks. Could you imagine a 40 truck race?
That'd be fun.
What happened to
That
40?
would be fun to watch.
What I want to know is why did Jennifer Jo Cobb not make, like, she should be in by owner points. Like, how did she not
She might be
qualify?
slow, but that team should have ran. Like, there was no reason.
No, but I want to know is, like, the
shouldn't
owner point should have pushed her in, even if she didn't, like, exactly get the fastest time. Like, her owner point should have been enough.
All right, so before we move on to the modifieds, just I don't know, give a little bit more like how was the experience, your seats, what section or like what part of the track? I see it's like just above start finish.
We started to move up because of the sun, but we were basically like at the start finish line a little bit to the right of it, and up at the the top red seats right underneath the
Yeah.
Those red seats all the way at the top on the front stretch.
Mhm.
They're basically the third row on that.
All right.
It was a good race. It was a good experience. Like, I'll tell you one thing with Bristol though, like they give not a single fuck about any like space time for you to go out and buy like any merchandise or anything like that. Once it started, it was back to back everything. There was no like stop. It was back to back everything.
Not confused on what
There
you
was
mean.
always something on the racetrack.
Oh yeah, there was. Yeah, when I went
All
to
the practices we had though, like modifieds only had one practice, so they practiced for like an hour and 30 minutes.
Yeah, when I went to Texas, I saw IndyCar practice, truck qualifying in the race, and there was a lot of time in between. So much time in between. But
At Bristol, they do everything back to back. Everything is back to back.
But I'm sure because you went like basically on the Fast Friday of the weekend, which was Thursday. But the Truck Series, didn't the Xfinity Series like practice or something? Or
Yeah,
was
they
that...
had a practice. Trucks had 2 practices. Modified had 1 practice. Then we had qualifying for trucks, qualifying for modifieds, then the modified race, and then the truck race. There was an hour after like the modified race, and then the truck race. Like all that happened.
Yeah, I think they give the most time after like another race for the big 3 series because they have all the pre-race festivities and crap. But so now it's all you. Talk to us about the modified race. Do I not have the picture? Oh no, I don't have the picture. Oh,
I'll send you the picture, maybe.
No, I had it. I guess I didn't put it in. But yeah, Malenka was able to go see the modified race. If you want to tell us about it, give us more of a detail because not many people were able to see it. They just tape delayed it on NBCSN earlier today.
I would say it was better than the truck race. I would say that. Through most of it, it was just that the qualifying was they did single car qualifying. The practices were kind of spread. There was like a few cars that were really far off the pace, but they, with a restrictor plate and a huge wing, go 10 miles an hour faster than like the trucks.
Damn.
They were like 131 miles per hour time.
Isn't it more like pack racing for the modifieds, or?
It was pack racing because the restrictor plate onto it, at least. Basically, pack
Your
racing.
mic's cutting out a bit, Mel.
I understood. He said it was restrictor plates because of or it was pack racing because of the restrictor plates. You were saying.
And then when the race started, the 07 of Patrick Emmerling, that's like the only guy that I like really know because I've seen him race before. He raced a few races like by me.
That's the one name I
Mostly.
remembered from watching like the first 30 laps of the tape delayed version of the race. Emmerling.
He's raced by like me like a bunch, so that's why I knew him mostly, and that's who I cheered for to win. He qualified second. He led for the first 30, and then once he lost the lead, he fell back to third and spun out. Next to, I think it was the 15 car. Then Bonsignor led up until, he basically led all of it up to the break, which, since it was 150 laps, I don't know why the break was lap 83. Like the halfway break where they all pit for all 4 tires and make adjustments was lap 83 for some reason.
Somebody can't do math. or grab a calculator. But that's that.
Once that happened, I think if I remember because Bonsignor was terrible on like restart. So once they restarted, the 15 got by him, and he led for a bit. Then Bonsignor caught back up. And by the way, Emmerling couldn't really catch back up because the track moved to like the top side basically, and he could only race the bottom. Every time he went to the top, he would lose time. So he could only race the bottom basically. And Bonsignor got by the 15, but when it was like 10 to go, the 15 was right on his right on the back of him, and he just couldn't get by because lap cars basically. And when he tried to pass on the inside, it was just terrible to actually like get past someone on the inside when they were rolling on the outside. So it was basically like the cup race. Like it was really hard to pass. And the 15 was faster, but Bonsignor ended up winning his 6th race of the season.
It's pretty cool. Not many people keep up the smaller series, but 2 weeks in a row now we've had a kind of a smaller series kind of insight. Last week Luis gave us a book report and a half on the K&N Pro West Series race at Evergreen Speedway, and this week Malcolm gives us a little bit of a recap of what happened for the Whelen Modified race at Bristol.
By far my favorite series, though. I love Modifieds. Modifieds are the best.
And I was gonna say, yeah, what was the best thing you saw there? What was your favorite session of the day?
My favorite session was the Modified race. I love Modifieds.
How loud are Modifieds?
My favorite. They were a little bit quieter than the trucks, to be honest. Like the trucks were a bit louder.
I figured that, but I was like, I was wondering, like, could you like hear Modifieds from like a mile away and stuff, like you could trucks?
Yeah, you could. Yeah, you could hear them. Yeah.
All right. So that's the NASCAR portion of the podcast. Actually, hold up. Forgot about the trucks. I think, yeah, I have your modified picture here. Wow. Yeah, there's the modified picture. Because I was going out of order, but that's okay. So Malcolm talked to us about his modified race experience. You see the modifieds there on the front stretch, and all the trucks literally nose to tail.
I forgot to say, the one car like had to like go to the back. Like he qualified like really far up the field, but he had to go to the back, and he went from like last place to like 4th.
That's cool. Yeah, you can see it there. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna go back, and we're gonna talk about the Camping World Truck Series race this weekend is at Canadian Tire Motorsports Park. Jesse Awuji, who a K&N driver, will be making his first National Series start. An African-American driver making another foray into NASCAR. I don't know how much you know about Jesse. But he's been showing a lot of promise in the K&N Series. I believe that's what he races in. I don't know. But what are y'all's predictions for Mosport?
I don't
really know.
I don't really, because I don't know. Like I would go with like John Hunter if he was racing, but I don't know particularly if he's racing. To be real,
right.
Because I don't know if he has to race Road of America or not.
I was gonna say I would probably go with John Hunter, but I don't know what race.
Yeah, I don't know if he's particularly racing, but usually like most of the road course racing is always great. Hunter is racing, so that's my pick to win the race. John Hunter is racing.
All right.
Wait, Alex Tagliani's racing the 12.
The trucks or Road America?
Yeah, the trucks.
Hey, I'm gonna pick Tagliani. I think he can do it. All right. So that's that. Or hold on. So, like most Canadian Tire races, it comes down to a last lap drama, last lap controversy, last lap pass.
Everyone gets turned out of the final.
Does the same thing happen this year?
John Hunter take out Alex Tagliani.
I would die. It is Alex Tagliani's home kind of race. He's Canadian, so. Wait, is he? No. Yeah, he is.
Yeah, he's Canadian.
Wait,
Yeah, I
I
don't-
don't know. Wait, yes.
I don't know what I'm thinking. I don't know. I have to second guess myself.
I don't know. Does he actually even like? I've never seen him like. Does he race full time in anything? Or did he ever race like full time? Like I see him like doing like
He
part time
does-
IndyCar starts all the time.
He does Pinties. He definitely does Pinties
Oh.
with Andrew Ranger and friends. Yeah, the Pinty series. They've raced at Motorsport earlier this season. I think they raced April. I'm not.
Because
Exactly
I'm just
sure.
like I see him like do part time IndyCar starts like all the time.
Yeah, Tagliani. He races around the continent, we should say. It's not just the country. But yeah, that's Motorsport.
Like in 2016, he did the Indy Road Course and the Indy 500, if I remember.
This thing is loose.
So before we wrap up trucks, news came earlier today, actually, I believe. I was going through my Facebook and I saw Dalton Sargent will be out of a ride. He failed to make the playoffs at Bristol and he will not be racing the rest of the season. Thoughts on Dalton Sargent not being able to finish out the season with his current team?
Kinda sucks.
I don't really get why he got like pushed out. It wasn't like he
I
was
don't
wrecking a ton of.
Sorry.
It wasn't like he was racing like wrecking a ton of trucks. It was like he was like wrecking a ton of trucks to the point to where you're not allowed to race anymore. Like could have like finished the season. It wasn't like he was like costing them money.
I thought he should have finished. I think he should have promised, get him a little bit better equipment. I would like to see what he can do.
Well, with GMS, it doesn't get much better than that in the truck series.
I guess, yeah. I don't know. I want to see more out of him. But I think he should.
It was his first season.
But yeah, and you know how often the truck series races. But yeah, that's depressing. They did 16 races.
It took Noah Gragson 2 seasons to actually be good.
Speaking of Noah Gragson, go ahead.
His first truck season was. I don't even think he made the playoffs his first season.
Gregson? Yeah, I don't remember.
I remember he won Martinsville, but other than that, I don't remember him making it in.
All right. So speaking of Noah Gragson, the playoffs are set for the Truck Series. Canadian Tire Motorsports Park is the first race of the first round. There's 2 rounds in the Truck Series playoffs. 2 drivers are eliminated at the end of each 3-race round until there are 4 drivers left for Homestead. Canadian Tire Motorsports Park marks the beginning, and there's 8 playoff drivers. They are Johnny Sauter, who has 5 wins, Brett Moffitt with 4 wins, Noah Gragson with 1 win, Ben Rhodes with 1 win, Stuart Friesen, Grant Enfinger both made it in on points. Justin Haley with 1 win, and Matt Crafton made it in on points. So who takes the early exit? The entire Motorsports Park, the face of the round.
I see the 2 people that got eliminated is Enfinger and Haley.
Enfinger and Haley? I can see
I
that.
was gonna say, I think, for some reason I think Crafton will be in the last one in on points.
So this is a fun round. We have Canadian Tire Motorsports Park, Las Vegas, and Talladega.
Oh, damn.
That is the round.
That'll be interesting.
So road course, a cookie cutter, but you gotta have something to set back road course
Vegas
and a
will
split
be-
track.
Okay,
I think
guys.
Crafton won't get eliminated because he's smart enough to drive real safe in Dega to where maybe a lot of like his competitors in there
People
wreck,
wreck.
and he's
Yeah.
and he's gonna he's experienced, I should say, enough to just drive a conservative race and get a top 10.
Crafton
Kinda
is
like John
definitely.
Hunter last year, but he still got damaged, but still got through.
I
that
agree.
final arc.
Crafton is definitely a methodical driver. I think I agree. Anfinger and Haley take the early exit. All right, from there, whatever to get eliminated to make up your final 4. The final round, it's the same for all 3 series. Wait, no, I lied. Not the Xfinity series, but for Cup and Trucks, the same final 4 races are Martinsville, Texas, Phoenix, and Homestead. So Martinsville, Texas, and Phoenix, or I'm sorry, ISM Raceway. Who gets the boot out of that round with the removal of Haley and Enfinger?
Is it the normal Phoenix track now? Like, an
It's-
IMS track? Or is it the new layout?
I mean, the layout.
I think it's a new layout. I think the new layout is done. I think
Yeah,
it was said it was done.
The track's not any different. It's just grandstands and start-finish line. I guess need
But
layout
for the
to
start-finish line, it's gonna make it
Yeah.
more exciting for restart because they'll literally be restarting in a turn.
Oh yeah. All right. So that's gonna be interesting. Yeah. Then the truck race will be the first of the big 3 series we'll see at the. It's the first race we'll see on the new ISM Raceway.
That is still stupid as fuck though. Like they did that whole reconfiguration and more grandstands for the IndyCar, for IndyCars. And what does IndyCar do when it's done? We're not racing there.
Oh man. All right. So Martinsville, Texas, Phoenix. That's the round before the final race at Homestead. Who's your final 4?
Sauter, Moffitt, Gregson, Friesen.
All right. So Ben
I'm
Rhodes,
gonna
Matt
have-
Crafton taking the exit. What about you, Markle? And I'm assuming you have Matt
Sauter.
Crafton out first round.
Well, if he can make it through safely all the way, he'll make it. But it's gonna be Sauter, Moffitt. If Crafton gets there, it'll be him. And then I'm gonna have Friesen.
But if he doesn't make it through, make it.
That's a toss. I think anybody else can make it on that one. I don't have a 4th one on that.
My final 4 would be Sauter, Moffitt, Crafton, and Friesen. So that's the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series playoffs, the final 4. We'll do the same for Xfinity and Copeland.
But we're shooting on Moffitt having good races all the time though. Like Moffitt has a lot of down weeks though. Like he has 4 wins, but a lot of down weeks.
Yeah.
Because the team
Yeah, but I
can't
think
be,
he
but
can win
because
at
the
one in
team,
each.
because the team is not fully, it's not fully funded to where they're gonna bring out a extremely fast car, or fast truck every week. They're not gonna bring a fast truck every week when you're barely able to bring a truck out every week.
I hope some sponsors get lined up at least to run the rest of the playoffs fully sponsored, but who knows? So yeah, that's it's the Truck Series playoffs and our final 4 predictions for that. We had now to talk to us about the modified race, and it's time for our F1 portion. So part of the silly season, Pierre Gasly looks like he'll be getting the 2nd Red Bull seat alongside Max Verstappen. Basically confirmed. Force
We
in.
expected
It is.
that.
It is. It's confirmed.
Yeah. Force. Well, I don't believe he's signed yet, but it's like Raikkonen. He set the sign. But Force India is. The rumor is Force India is to get a name change before this weekend. So that will be interesting. That'll be interesting to see if Ocon stays in the car, because Perez will for his contributions to Force India, and
It is
just him
confirmed
being-
that Gasly is racing.
Okay. Okay.
I'm
Okay.
just making sure. Yeah.
I'm sorry. It's confirmed. It's not 95. It's 100% sure Gasly will be at the 2nd Red Bull seat. So if that's all of our silly season roundup, what we have: Hamilton, Bottas, Mercedes. We have Vettel and Raikkonen, Ferrari. We have Perez and Stroll for Force
We
India.
already pretty much completely knew that Gasly was going to Red Bull.
Yeah. And honestly, for what I'm seeing, I think Ocon's staying at Force India. Actually, and I think the Perez is getting the boot now.
But
I think it looks like Scholl wants to have Ocon as a teammate. So instead of experience.
Now, what do you? I don't know how Lawrence Stroll takes this. Does he follow what his son
Exactly.
wants, or does he go with the person
That's
who
up
tried
to
to
him.
keep the team alive?
We'll see. I mean, can Ocon really do much to help keep the team alive? I mean, Ocon's doing what he can and getting points too, but
But also,
Ocon's only been there
how
2
will
years.
it be? I know Ocon isn't like a rookie, but he's not that experienced in F1. He's done like 2 seasons at. Or what?
Yeah.
This is his 2nd
well,
season.
he's good. So I
He's
wouldn't get rid
good.
of him either.
He's good, but I think you want someone with a
Perez
little
is
more.
getting older too. It's about he's getting time to almost leave soon too.
Well, yeah, but I think Perez will stay long enough for Stroll to get.
I think Perez stays because Lance Stroll's dad would want someone that Lance Stroll can learn off of.
Exactly. Ocon's good, but I don't think Ocon knows enough to teach someone. You know?
No. Didn't they both come in the same year?
Yeah, they came in the same year. They're both rookies same year.
I mean, yeah. So I agree. I think Perez.
Stroll's getting, or not Stroll, but Ocon's getting screwed then if that happens.
I don't know where Ocon goes. Does he switch?
Exactly.
Does he go to?
Toro also has nobody in their car, so.
They might pick him up, but he might be going to Williams. I don't know.
I hope he doesn't have to go to Williams. Rip him if that happens.
We have
But Williams is a good team. Like, they were down for a little bit and then they recovered again. So it's very possible Williams can recover again. Like, they were down
with
when
Ocon being a good driver, yeah, that could happen.
I'm just Williams was in a huge hole 2011 and 12 where they were terrible. Like 2010, 11 and 12, they were terrible. 2013, good team again. Able to get podiums, points consistently, good team all around. So Williams is a team that's capable of coming back. Williams is a team that can come back. It's not going to be bad for forever.
Alright, so
they'll have their ups and downs, like kind of like Force India. They weren't doing so well, and then they had a good year. Now they're on a
Force India was on fire this past season, and then all of a sudden, the whole scandal.
They're still doing good this year.
The fourth and fifth team for some reason just collapsed. Like Force India was fourth, Williams was fifth, and then they both collapsed.
Yeah, it was. They were doing
for
great.
How their car is this year with losing money and stuff for Force India. With Ocon getting 29 and Perez getting 30 points, pretty good for those two. So,
I love it when you owe money to sponsorship.
Yeah, I don't know. That's.
Were they paying people just to like say like, "Yo, we have a sponsor on the car"?
I don't know, man. That's pretty stupid if that's the case. But so yeah, we'll be heading off of the summer break, on our way out of the F1 2019 silly season. We'll be heading into Belgium for the Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps, the lovely Belgian Grand Prix. It's 40-something laps. Who do we have winning?
From what it seems
says,
like, that Mercedes can't keep up with Ferrari from what it sounds like. So Ferrari will probably eke out a win with Vettel first, Hamilton second, Raikkonen
from
third.
Looking at like articles and stuff like Malenko saying, it looks like Ferrari's supposed to have the edge over like keeping their stuff more reliable and a better engine right now with more speed than that. So it would be cool. I think Ferrari can get the win, but overall it could be a close race.
Well, yeah, remember I beat the Panthers 27-26. Good.
I thought he was talking about...
what is he talking
well, remember,
about?
I beat Lewis Hamilton, so I don't know. All right, but I seen that too. I think we're all on the track. Vettel wins Spa, but anything can happen. It is racing. Anything happens in racing. Vettel looks to be the optimal pick for Spa. I haven't looked at the weather forecast. Actually, I'll look at that now.
But yeah, the podium will consist of Vettel, Hamilton, Raikkonen.
And if it ever ends up being like a crazy spot race, like you know how they've had the starts, I guess it can be a toss-up of what happens depending on who gets involved in a wreck in turn one.
Right now, it's
I remember the one time.
What one?
No, it was 2013 when Nico like hit into Hamilton. Hamilton got like a pop tire and was able to come back and then beat him.
So the weather forecast is from right now. It's Thursday, 4 a.m. right now in Belgium. Right now, it's looking to be.
Wasn't it Grosjean though, Malenko, the one race where he went over Fernando in Spa?
Oh, I remember Grosjean when they went off the grid and killed Grosjean killed everyone in the one.
Oh my god. What was it? It is looking like it's going to be at least a light, intermediately wet race. Scattered showers, 40% chance
We'll
Sunday.
see if
As
that
of right
stays
now,
true.
that's true. But the weather, yeah, right now weather says 40% chance of rain around race time.
As long as it's nothing like the Hungaroring had, or not Hungary, but like Germany had, and Vettel, wrecked out. I hope that doesn't happen again. Because they were
all I'm
kind of
going to
stupid at
say
staying at slicks.
Is the Watkins Glen race I went to last season?
Yeah.
That was supposed to be, that was like a 90% rain, 90% rain on that day. On that day it said 90% rain. We went there and it didn't rain. It rained for the
Stadium Super Trucks.
no, basically like NASCAR's Xfinity series with
Indy Lights.
Indy Lights. There you go. It rained for them and that's it.
So yeah, I don't know. We could possibly see a rain race this coming Sunday. How does Vettel do in the rain? We will see. Hopefully.
Well, remember the last time it rained? Germany.
Ha ha ha.
Sure.
That was a transition period. Okay. Anyway, so yeah, we'll be heading into the Belgian Grand Prix, and we're coming off our summer break, so we're getting into the final stretch of races. If we took a look at the F1 standings, looks pretty close. Last I remember, let me double check because it's been almost a month. No, it's not that close. Vettel
I was about to say, it was like Hamilton is blowing out Vettel right now.
Yeah, right now it's Hamilton is 24 points ahead of Vettel. If I did my quick math right.
Quick mass.
So it's almost a full race ahead of Vettel. Does Vettel close the gap? Hamilton has 5 wins, Vettel with 4 wins this season, Ricciardo with 2. Verstappen
Probably
with
not.
1. Probably not? You think Hamilton seals the deal later this season?
Probably, yeah. I don't see Vettel coming back.
All right.
Remember last year, like the second half of the season, Vettel choked on the second half of the season, and saying on that performance, I'm not on high hopes.
So let's talk about constructors. Mercedes is only 10 ahead of Ferrari. It's
I think Vettel.
It's time to take out Valtteri. That's what that means.
Well, I mean, Vettel has 5 wins. Vettel has 4 wins. Hamilton has 5 wins. In constructors, that's the exact amount of wins for each team. So it's not wins meaning anything. 14 and 15.
But I'm just saying that means
Think
it's
about it.
time to take out
Raikkonen's had
Valtteri.
tons more podiums though than Valtteri.
Yeah, I'm just saying it's time to take out Valtteri. That's all.
Valtteri has had 5 podiums. He's 14 points ahead of Daniel Ricciardo.
That's all I'm saying. It's time to take out Valtteri. That's about all I'm hearing here.
Did he get Valtteri got re-signed, right?
Valtteri was on a multi-year, I believe. So yeah, he was confirmed.
I was gonna say maybe he could get taken out. Ocon goes there.
I don't.
Yeah,
He
that-
may
that
become
would
a free
happen.
agent this upcoming, next season.
No, since Raikkonen was signed, Mercedes is gonna steal Charles Leclerc next season or some shit, or like the season
Buy him
after
out.
this season.
I don't know. What if Leclerc stays on the Ferrari path, goes up to Haas?
Well, he would be the basically the successor of Vettel. They would have him move up with Vettel. He would learn from Vettel, and he would be the new team spokesman.
Yeah.
I don't know. Looking at the next 2 races though for F1, you know how they have Spa coming up. Italy's right after that, so
And that's
it's
Ferrari's
2 powerhouse tracks, and Ferrari has engine power over Mercedes this year, so maybe that'll work.
But
Yeah.
if Vettel is able to just recover like in second, like that's not that. It's 14-point gain. That's still a 10-point lead.
10 points and 10 points. I think that's a little bit more manageable to try to gain through the rest of the races.
It is, but then we have the last races of Abu Dhabi and Brazil, which Hamilton
Those
is
are
better
definitely
at.
Hamilton's. I don't know about Brazil. I haven't watched
Abu
a lot of
Dhabi is a
Brazil.
pretty good one for both of them, though.
I feel Hamilton is better there.
Mercedes.
And Hamilton.
Mercedes.
And since
Hamilton,
with
Hamilton,
Mercedes is better for handling, so also he'll get it at Singapore probably. Even though
Singapore.
Vettel is better than Hamilton at Singapore, but the Mercedes has better handling. So
If they have no like issues in the beginning of the race in Singapore either, too.
So let's just say Vettel and Hamilton finish 1-2 to each other. Vettel gets the one up at Belgium. So that's 24 to -7. That's 17 points. He gets the one up at Italy.
I'm gonna say Red Bull's gonna win at Singapore, possibly.
Let's say Vettel gets at Italy. That's 17 -7. That's 10 points. Say at Singapore, Hamilton gets a one up. That's 17 points. Let's say Vettel gets the one up at Russia. We agree with that?
yeah, Russia. Yeah, I
I
agree.
forgot about Russia. Damn.
Yeah,
Vettel
I
gets
agree. He gets it in Russia.
Brings it back
Yeah.
down to 10. Japan. Who gets that?
Vettel.
All right,
Vettel
I
on
was
that
gonna
one.
say maybe
United
Hamilton.
States, I think
Yeah.
only Hamilton and Vettel have won there, right? At USA?
I think only Hamilton. I can't remember.
No,
I,
Vettel won in the Red Bull.
In 2011, I think it
yes.
was.
Yeah. All right. So
He was
yeah.
the first one to win there.
Wait, so Vettel gets the one up at Japan. So that brings it down to 3 points. Who gets it at
Mexico,
USA?
I think Vettel.
Vettel. So
Or
that's
USA is...
USA. That's a toss up. USA can go both ways. Let's say
It's
Vettel.
purely power, so I would go Vettel. It's
So
purely
Vettel. So
power.
now it's
If we
four,
want to talk Mexico, then after that, that's power too.
four
Vettel.
up on Vettel. That makes it 11 up on Vettel, or four Vettel. But then we head into Brazil. Let's say Hamilton gets it. It's now down to 4 points, and then Abu Dhabi, 4 points entering Abu Dhabi.
An extreme good battle. Don't know.
That makes Hamilton the winner if he wins there.
That's whoever wins,
Guys, this
basically
is
gets it
also basically saying that these two are the only two drivers to finish 1-2 for the rest of the season, though.
done.
That's
I
saying
don't think
everything
that
goes
though,
for.
because I think Singapore can be a Red Bull.
Things can be
because of
shaken
Arrow.
up. People can have penalties and damage and other
Yeah.
problems, and
Let's
it's
think
racing.
about
Anything,
Vettel
didn't
loving
Kurt
them
win last
penalties.
so yeah, anything can happen. But the way we predicted
Turn
it,
1 Russia is sometimes fucked.
Well, I thought Spa usually has something happen every time turn one. So this
All I
weekend's
know
gonna
is
be eventful.
Russia turn 1 is usually fucked.
the way we predicted is 4 points is the gap entering Abu Dhabi.
What about Italy turn one?
Nah, not really.
It's a long straightaway. Everybody gets calm entering turn 1. Unlike
I'm just
multiplayer
turn-
lobbies.
Turn 1 Russia on the first lap. It's only the first. It's only the first
True.
lap of Russia. The first lap of Russia, turn 1 is fucked.
And then literally after that, I mean, Valtteri Bottas won there last year with like not another overtake like all race.
Yeah, but Kimi was catching though too. We were hoping he was gonna win, but that didn't happen.
Oh,
so
Kimi,
maybe that's the
Kimi
race
at
between
Monaco.
Valtteri and Kimi again.
Yeah, I
Kimi
was
at
gonna
Monaco.
say-
tragic.
But how about we throw a twist in? Let's say Raikkonen or Bottas wins one of the races.
I don't know.
If
Even though I
there's
say
one, I'm gonna go
Bottas is
Russia.
more shit than Raikkonen, I think Bottas has a better chance of winning than Raikkonen.
Ferrari does only favor Vettel unless like Vettel's out of the race.
Because Mercedes is fine with Bottas winning, but whenever Raikkonen's ahead, it's just like no, give it to Vettel. Give your position to Vettel. Fuck off. That's basically Ferrari.
The only time they're not gonna tell him to give it to Vettel is if Vettel's not racing.
Or is that
That's
what it is?
completely true. They even purposely gave Raikkonen a worse strategy at Monaco to give Vettel the lead at Monaco last season. Tragic.
Well, yes, it was the worst strategy, but also usually the driver leading gets the choice of first pit stop.
Yeah, but Kimi was leading, wasn't he?
Yeah,
Yeah,
and he got
Kimi
first
was
pit
leading,
stop.
and it got
But
I guess you could say, it, but they should honestly give the person that won the best strategy.
Yeah, I don't know. Like even like on the F1 games, you always like let your teammate who's in front of you get the first pit stop. I don't know. But Vettel just stayed out long enough.
We
to,
don't let him. He takes the first pit stop because he's the first one there.
Yeah, pretty much. But I mean, you're not gonna follow them in there so you don't get stacked.
Yeah, so I was like, it isn't that you give it to the person ahead of you; it's that they're taking it.
True.
But I don't know. Vettel just stayed out enough to overcut him. I mean, as much as I want Raikkonen to win, I just think that was just perfectly timed by Vettel. I don't know what to say. But yeah, I think that's all we got for this week. And any other comments before we get let's just go through real quick.
Aren't you commenting on the Canon race?
I was gonna say we have we mentioned last week that IMSA has a GT only challenge, the Michelin GT only challenge at VIR. But number 25 BMW M8 for GTLM got the overall win in Virginia, and the number 14 Lexus RCF got the win in GTD. 2 laps down to the overall winner in GTLM. So I don't know. There was not much to report from Virginia other than it was the first win that the BMW M8's ever It's the first time
for their
the
win, it was
BMW.
a great battle too.
Yeah, it was a great battle. It was a great battle. Yeah, between them and the Corvette. And then we also mentioned that ARCA is in Springfield at the Illinois State Fairgrounds, and it was Christian Eckes. Yeah. I didn't watch.
And he looks like a chick. He's a dude. He looks like a chick, just like Justin Haley. Swear that's a chick. I swear to God, Justin Haley's a chick.
So driver number 15, Christian Eckes, won the one and only dirt ARCA race of the season.
You want to know who also is a chick? Zach Veach. That is a chick.
So I guess before we wrap it up here, let's just upcoming this weekend we have the NASCAR Xfinity Series at Road America featuring Hall of Fame rookie Bill Elliott. We have the Bomarito Automotive Group 500 at Gateway for IndyCar Saturday night. We have the Berlin ARCA 200 at Berlin Raceway Saturday night as well. We have F1 at Belgium Sunday, depending on where you are. It is 12 a.m. my time, so I'm assuming
That's not bad.
Saturday 11 p.m. is what it is. Wait, no, that doesn't make sense.
If it's 12 for you, it's 11 for us.
I'm confused.
If it's 12 for you, it's 11 for us.
But no, if it's 11, I don't know. I'm confused. But yeah, 12 Central, 11 Eastern. I don't know why it's like that. Maybe I'm just not thinking right. We have the also on Sunday we have the Chevrolet Silverado 250 at Canadian Tire Motorsports Park, also known as Motorsport. That is the weekend in racing. Next podcast we'll be talking about, since there's no Cup race, we'll be talking about some of the Darlington throwbacks you'll be seeing on the upcoming weekend. So as far as talking about the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series, next week is going to be mainly Darlington throwbacks. Any final comments on this past weekend of racing? There y'all have.
Nope.
I'm good.
Alright, so championship battle shaping up, whether it's the playoffs in NASCAR, is the F1 championship closing in, or it's somebody finally catching Scott Dixon looking to be Alexander Rossi. All the championships are getting pretty close here towards the end of the seasons. Yeah. We,
Those points are close.
Oh, wait, I didn't make the comment about going into after Gateway is Portland, and the only people to race at Portland is Scott Dixon and Will Power. Or, no, and Tony Kanaan.
TK, oh yeah.
And then speaking of IMSA, the points are pretty close in each series there too. The
Forgot about
GTLM
that.
has,
GTLM,
I think, what, 5 points between the top two?
I think it's like,
Or something like that.
I think it's 5 cars with like 20, within 20 points of each other or something like that in GTLM. GTD is also pretty close. I think 14 points separate the top two. and I cannot remember what the prototype
I
standings
think it's
look like.
10 from the first two in prototypes.
Okay. But so
I
yeah,
think.
all the
Something like-
championships in racing are getting close, getting tight, coming to the end of the seasons here. We wish Robert Wickens the best, and we will see y'all next week.